Live struggle legacy. It's a whole movement.
Hey everybody, it's your boy MP, Live Struggle Legacy, and welcome to episode 15 of the Live Struggle Legacy podcast. So this is the finale of season 1. If you haven't already done so, make sure you hit the subscribe button, the like button, the notification button, drop a comment. If you haven't already, go back, stop this episode now, listen to those first 14 episodes so you know what's going on right now. Alright, so I started the last episode. I know y'all getting tired of me talking about me, so don't you worry. After this episode, we're going to be bringing on guests. We're going to take a short little break. I'm going to talk about me just a little bit more because I need to tie up some loose ends today in this podcast. So I brought it in with gratitude in the last episode, and I don't think I gave enough gratitude. Where I left off was I was telling you, I had a separation. My life kind of took a change, a little turn of events, and which was all meant to be. The universe guided me in the right direction, the direction to fulfill this purpose, to bring this message to you right now. So, in the process of me going through a lot, when I told you I was like at my darkest hour with separation from my son and trying to figure things out, and in the middle of me trying to support my son's mom and trying to be there for my son, doing, and just kind of giving, and not having a whole lot left. Well, then the separation kind of created this darkness where I kind of felt empty and I lost focus. But the silver lining was the legacy, was the movement. And now, what I didn't tell you about is like when my son's mom was pregnant and prior to, I had that kind of little fork in the road where it's like, okay, am I going to just stop everything I'm doing with music and everything I've been working so hard on to be a supportive dad and partner? Or am I going to be a supportive dad and partner and still demonstrate that you never let go of one's dreams? And I told you I had a little motivation from my sister that kept me going. But what I didn't tell you about was, big shout out to my bro JJ and Shooter Chief, because initially JJ introduced me to Shooter Chief and we started shooting this documentary, and I hadn't done much with that. Well, I rekindled things with Shooter Chief after not talking to him for a long time, because I was telling you that I kind of took a step back from all my content, everything short of school and school projects, when I found out I was going to become a father. Well, I really started to mash the gas on the project. And just to give you an idea of how my creative, I should say, workflow went from, like, say, 2016 when I was released from home confinement all the way up until 2020 when I really started to get serious with this live struggle movement. Everything I would do in intervals, like sprints, and in other words, I'd get a little extra money and I'd dump it into my music and I'd be real active in the studio, but then I'd run out of money. So it kind of became this thing where it's like, okay, if I don't have money, I can't get studio time, I can't mix, I can't, master, and I would kind of allow that to leave me stagnant, right? Well, since then, I've learned ways to be more resourceful. Of course, I told you when I was going to school, I invested in the Pro Tools package, the sound recording gear, the home studio, so I could make like what we call scratch tracks. You could think of as like a rough draft at home, but I still would need money to mix, because I can mix, but I'm not like that. Like, I can't sit there and listen to a snare X amount of times and get my vocal just right with EQing. It takes a lot to be a sound engineer and really truly mix. So I want to tip my hat to those who are sound engineers. I have the utmost respect for those because I'm just not cut out for that, and I'm honest with myself. So I'm telling you this to tell you that that's why, if you've been following me for a long time and you've been waiting for new content and you see me getting great strides with this legacy for Big Baby and Live Struggle, and then you see me kind of disappear, it's lack of funds. I'm just going to be real with you. It's lack of funds. And I can only promote the same song so many times and the same promo video so many times, right? So that's why you see these big laps in productivity or content, so to speak. Well, I'm going to take a pause on that for a moment because this is all going to circumvent, and I'm going to go back a little bit more to my personal life and gratitude, because now y'all know way more about me than you probably want to know, right? So it is what it is, though. This is what season 1 is about. It's about my life struggle, right? We're about to segue out of this, but before we do, I talked about my early childhood and some of the things that I went through, and way later on, I talked about becoming a father and how that was life-changing, and we kind of left off on that in the last episode. But I want to touch on that a little bit deeper because, after COVID and my separation from my son's mom and starting this life as a single parent, right, which was a brand new thing for me, what I didn't tell you is I had some major life changes, like career changes. So Orange Theory was no more for me. After COVID, they closed the gyms. And, we had mask mandates, which there's not a single soul that's not hip to what's been going on with that, right? At least in this modern world. So I just want to say that kind of put my fitness on the back burner. I was laid off from Orange Theory, as were all employees, all gym employees. Nobody knew really what was going to happen. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they said, okay, we need you to get a new certification. We need you to do basically more work for less money. And you better be grateful because we didn't ask everybody, right? So I gave them an ultimatum because not only was it more work for less money, but now, if you remember me saying in previous episodes how much praise I have and gratitude for the CEO of the NFPT, the National Federation of Professional Trainers, who I was certified with from 2010 all the way up into 2020. So a decade I had with this accreditation board, right? Well, all of a sudden, Orange Theory Corporate said, we no longer accept this credential. We need you to get NASM. Well, if you remember, I looked in the camera a few episodes ago and I said, fuck NASM, because I tried to get certified through NASM when I was up the road and they wouldn't certify me as a convict that was incarcerated. Now, things happen for a reason. Orange Theory is telling me that I need NASM. That's the only certification that they take because, everything is business. One hand washes the other. We have brand ambassadors. All the uniforms that I used to have to buy myself, I could no longer wear because Nike was the new brand. So all these corporate things are starting to change. And, I'm not a corporate dude. I can play the corporate game, but I'm not a corporate dude, and one can only take so much. So the ultimatum was this. Are you going to pay for me to get certified through NASM? Which was actually a lot more expensive than my credential. And now I paid an $85 a year. I think it went up to $110 at some point, probably because of inflation. But that was my renewal fee that I had to pay each year to the NFPT, which I gladly paid. It was a drop in the bucket because this was my career for years, okay? Well, now I have to pay between like $500 and $700 to be accredited through NASM. So I told the regional from Orange Theory, okay, you want me to do it? Are you going to pay for it? They said, no, absolutely not. You should be glad that we asked you to come back. I said, no, thank you. Right? So, and I kind of kept it short. Well, this lady called me back with a real fucked up attitude and was like, you should be grateful. Who do you think you are? I said, listen, respectfully, you're beating a dead horse. I'm done. Why are we talking? I'm done. I appreciate Orange Theory and everything that they've done, but it's over. It's over between us, right? That's basically the conversation that I had to have with this regional, right? And what was pretty amazing though, because again, I have a lot of respect for the teams that I built, and even some of the management, some of the regionals, but corporate not so much. Especially this one particular regional who was a new person that came on from corporate, and they had sold the company, which actually paid me more money, which was good, but not after COVID. So here I get this great big raise. I go out and buy a new truck. I'm thinking everything's great because I'm in a multi-income household. To, okay, now COVID hits. I'm separated. I'm stuck with a mortgage all by myself. And like my job is on the line. My career is on the line. It's like, and now it's like, okay, we'll take you back for more work, less money, and we don't accept your credential anymore. Well, no, thank you. Respectfully, no. Okay? So, one of the managers, who I didn't even know that well, but he was like one of the OGs from Orange Theory, he actually called me, and I'm not going to say his name because this could potentially get this person in trouble, but I got nothing but love and respect for this dude if he's watching, whether he is or he isn't. He hit me up and he was like, yo, listen. He's like, I understand why you left. I respect your decision. He said, just know that if you ever want to come back, the door is always open. These members love you. Everybody that's ever worked with you has said nothing but positive things about you. And he said, off the record, if you need a job and you don't want to go the Orange Theory route, I have several friends who own gyms, and I will get you a job like that. You say the word. And when I tell you gratitude, right, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. It's like you do good things and you're sincere with what you do, people recognize it and will reward you. Well, I didn't take the opportunity. I tried to do online coaching, which was amazing during lockdowns. I thought I was going to make a career out of it. But of course, a lot of that I think was people just trying to show me love, knowing that Orange Theory had closed and temporarily. And, people were eager to get back to that community of in-person fitness, because that's what makes that energy special when you do this group fitness thing. So the online training really didn't work out for me like that. But I tried to do something with a new gym. Didn't work out the way I thought it would. We didn't see eye to eye on things. We had a separation. And then I tried to do something like way off the wall. I tried to do trucking, right? I tried to get, I put a down payment on a box truck. I actually got a DOT, that's a Department of Transportation number. I got a motor carrier number. I invested the little bit of money that I had saved. I put it all into this trucking business, and the insurance costs were so high that there was no way. Like, I didn't have that savings that I needed to be able to maybe take a year or so of losses to build. No, I needed to make money right away. So, I'm in the middle of this reinventing of myself, as I know a lot of people did after all this COVID, but, having gone through the separation and all this. And of course, I'm trying to make my music, the movement, the legacy, I'm trying to make that into a business, but that requires money, as I was just telling you. So I'm trying to figure out, how can I take care of my son, take care of this mortgage, and still have money left over to fund these, what were at the time, passion projects, right? But how can I convert these passion projects into a business? Because, clearly this will not perpetuate if it can't turn over a profit. That's just the name of the game when it comes to anything that you want to last and withstand the test of time. So, the universe called. I was at a really low point, and I remember one of my close homeboys that I was actually playing disc golf, something I used to make fun of him for playing all the time. I actually went out there and did it. If you don't know what disc golf is, it's like golf with a frisbee, right? And, we would be out there, it would be like therapy. We're not even keeping score. We're just like burning and, having a beer or two and basically throwing the frisbee, getting, venting our life frustrations out in this beautiful park in our beautiful city of St. Petersburg, right? So in the midst of all this, I'm really going through it. I'm in a real dark place. There were things going on, well, with my son and my son's mom that I'm not going to talk about in detail, but I will just tell you that they were weighing on me heavily. And my bro looks at me, my bro that I've known since like 9th grade. He's like one of my best friends. He was like, listen, man. He's like, you're bad vibes right now, bro. He's like, I'm not going to lie, you are bad vibes. And nobody ever says that to me. I'm usually the good vibe, but I'm not going to lie, I took it to heart. I'm like, damn, I am the bad vibe. So I get a call from a relative right in that moment. And it goes to show you the universe, right? And my relative was like, listen, I heard you're down bad. I have an opportunity for you. Do you want to take it? So I wasn't sure about it. I thought about what it would be, and I jumped on the opportunity. And I'm doing that right now to this day. I don't want to go into detail because that's not what this is about. Let's just say I got a day job, right? So, and it does pay my bills. It's not, I'm not that wild about it, but I'm grateful for it. I'm absolutely grateful for it. But so when you see me doing these podcasts, just know that I'm pulling long shifts. And then in the overtime, I have to muster up the energy to be able to deliver these messages and these stories to you all in this podcast, right? So hold that thought. Being a father, I want to bring it back to, and the significance of that and how important that is to me, and being a single father and having a brand new career that, I mean, forget 40 hours, I'm putting in 60 hours and driving, commute, you know what I mean, in my work weeks, right? And then delivering this content to you. But I want to say that to say this, I couldn't do all this on my own, and I have 50% custody of my child. So my parents helped me out tremendously, and I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing right now with this podcast. I wouldn't be able to show up at my day job every day if it wasn't for my parents. And so I said a lot of things about my childhood and my parents, right, that maybe weren't too flattering for them or to them. But you know, we learn through our history, we learn through our mistakes, and I want to take this time to express the gratitude that I have for my son's grandparents, my parents, because some of the most joyful moments of my life as a father and as a man are seeing my son with my parents. And I will tell you that there have been times where I've had to set boundaries. And if you're a parent and you're watching this, I think it's important that we understand boundaries, that we set boundaries, and we teach our children boundaries, even if that has to be with some of our own family. But that being said, I can't thank my parents enough, and I mean I can't emphasize the gratitude that I have for them enough. And some of the most beautiful moments of my life are when I come home from a long day from work and I hear my son playing with my mom in a way that maybe my mom never played with me, or I don't remember, but it doesn't matter, because this is the beauty of seeing my parents in a different light than I did when I was young, and seeing my son light up in these moments, and just, you know, feeling this gratitude, this sensation that I can't even describe to you when I see, you know, my son with his grandparents. So, you know, again, back to gratitude, and it all circumvents, you know, and I'm not knocking my parents for anything that I went through as a child, because I wouldn't be who I am right now. And we can only operate from our level of experience, right? And if we knew any better, we'd do better. So it's like, you know, be patient with people, set boundaries. But if you have people out there and they're doing for you and yours, express that gratitude. Don't keep it to yourself. Tell them. You know what I mean? And I try to do that as often as I can. And I want to make sure that I do that on this podcast, because you heard me pout a lot in maybe the second episode about, you know, maybe my childhood was this, that, and the third, but I'm still grateful for it, and I wouldn't choose any other parents in the world. You know, again, our experiences make us, and we learn from them, right? So That's enough about me. That's enough about my life. I'm ready to kind of, I'll say, amp you up for the next season. I want to bring it back to what brought us here, right? It wasn't me. Sure, it's my voice, it's my face, you're hearing my story. But ultimately, Live Struggle Legacy is in the spirit of my big homie Tim. And what Tim did to create a platform for other people when we were in a really rough space, right? So it's like this virtual space that you see me in right now, that we're connecting in right now, this is a platform that I want to perpetuate in the spirit of my homie Tim. But I want to be able to share this with other people. I want to be able to bring on artists, whether, again, to go back from the introduction episode, whether you are a musician, a vocalist, a comedian, whether you have a brand that you want to discuss, a story that you want to share, this is the platform to do it. What's my goal? Well, my goal is to inspire and motivate. I want to be able to show you that your dreams can still come true, that it's never too late, that you never give up. And I'm, beginning these last few episodes with gratitude because that was my secret sauce. So maybe I could share these stories and, share this perspective with you so that you can have a little bit of your own secret sauce. And, if I just give a couple more shout outs to those who helped me kind of really make this happen when I was in my darkest hour. I named a couple of names in the last episode. Shout out Shooter Chief, shout out to homie JJ, Chris Cage, Class V, Luis Garcia. I want to give a big shout out to the Bottomville family out of St. Pete. If you don't know who that is, shout out to the homie Keto and Moose in the Berg, because when I was down bad and trying to get some t-shirts off the ground, these gentlemen invited me into their space and printed me up a bunch of t-shirts for the low. And not to say that that's open for the public. I'm not trying to promote, right? But I'm just telling you, I got to give respect where it's due, because they didn't know me from a can of paint, and they believed in what I had going on, and they helped me to perpetuate this legacy, this movement, right? So you've heard me talk about brand in the last episode. It's much bigger than a brand, but if we don't start branding, then we can't keep this thing moving, y'all. This has been a passion project of mine for a decade. I can't keep this going if we continue as a passion project. So we need sponsors. We need to convert this into a business, right? If we're going to perpetuate this message, if we're going to perpetuate this legacy, if I'm going to keep this platform going for other people. So this is how I want to close this podcast. If you have, a business that you want to promote, you see we're getting some traction now, I can give you a little drop, give you a special shout out for a little sponsorship, a little this, for a little bit of that. We will help you promote your business, help you promote your brand. If you want to get on the podcast and promote your brand, reach out. Let me know what you have in mind. I'm very open-minded. Shoot me a DM. Shoot me a message. If you want to support in some kind of way, if you want to donate, by all means. I have the Live Struggle website. It needs a little bit of work, but I have the Live Struggle website up and running, www.livestrugglelegacy.com. You can make donations through the site. You can check out our music. You can check out our videos. You can find direct links to the podcast, which I'm sure you already found by now. But if you want to be a part of that website as well, I'm also offering networking options. I have a whole networking tab. I can showcase you on that website. So, this is a roll call, y'all. This is a roll call for the Live Struggle Legacy movement in the spirit of my big homie Tim. Rest in peace, Tim. I can tell you right now, my bro, may be gone in the physical, but I feel his energy every day. There's no way I could have done this without him. I want to give a major shout out to Ms. Jocelyn. That's my big homie Tim's mom. To Nikel, that's my big homie Tim's sister. I hope you don't mind me shouting you out, but I just want you to know that I will never forget my big bro. I will never forget your baby, Ms. Jocelyn. And what you see from this point on is in the spirit of Tim. But it doesn't stop there, because what Tim would have wanted is he would have wanted you to be able to come to this platform and share what you got going on with the world. So what's happening? Holla at me. It's Live Struggle Legacy. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow. If you're listening on a podcast platform, please rate us. Engage so we can get that algorithm going. We need to get this movement out to as many people as possible. This is the grand finale, y'all. We're going to take a short break. I'll see you in season 2. I'll give you a little sneak peek. Well, our very first guest is going to be the big homie Hard White. JJ, we're going to talk about Autism Awareness All-Stars and what that means to us and what it could potentially mean for you. This Live Struggle Legacy, y'all. We building pyramids.
Live Struggle Legacy. It's a whole movement.